Well, firstly, let me apologise for not being with you in person. The Bucks have got a wedding coming up, and this is the only night that the other four have free. So, sadly, I can only be with you on the interweb, and I'll be missing my haggis. Je suis désolé. So, the Immortal Memory for 2014 can only be to consider what Burns's view of the independence referendum would be. I'm going to argue that he'd be planning to vote yes, and my argument will be partisan and one-sided, influenced by my man Terry Eagleton. Listen to this. It is the liberal who falls for the myth that you can only see things aright if you don't take sides. It's the industrial chaplain view of reality. The liberal has difficulty with situations in which one side has a good deal more of the truth than the other, which is to say all the key political situations. For this is to equate truth with one-sidedness rather than with symmetry, which is how liberals tend to see the matter. For them, the truth generally lies somewhere in the middle. Or as Raymond Williams once commented, when in doubt, the Englishman thinks of a pendulum. Faced with the poor's view of history as for the most part wretchedness and adversity, the liberal reaches instinctively to trim the balance. Hasn't there also been a great deal of splendour and value? Indeed there has, but to claim that the two balance each other out is surely to falsify. Even-handedness here is not in the service of objectivity. True judiciousness means taking sides, so I'm going to take sides. Okay, so why would Burns be a yes voter? Well, I guess we've got to find a fairly similar scenario to the one that we face. So Burns was 24 when the American colonies finally freed themselves of British rule. And in the poem Ode for General Washington's Birthday, Burns hails Columbia, he means the American states, as representatives of freedom battling against tyranny. And as usual, Burns is in no way anti-English. I mean, the Parcel Rogues, remember, were the Scots gentry, not the English ruling elite, like some people think. So in this poem, he praises the English radical tradition. He embodies it in Alfred the Great. But he laments the fact that England has come to embrace tyranny. So let me just read you a couple of verses of Ode for General Washington's Birthday. Sounds like a Michael Mara song, doesn't it? Okay. Thy harp, Columbia, let me take, see gathering thousands while I sing, a broken chain, exulting, bring and dash it in the tyrant's face, and dare him to his very beard, and tell him he no more is feared, no more the despot of Columbia's race. A tyrant's proudest insults braved, they shout, a people freed, they hail an empire saved. And then in the verse where he talks about England, very telling, I think, he says, Alfred, on thy starry throne, surrounded by the tuneful choir, the bards that erst have struck the patriot lyre, and roused the freeborn Britain's soul of fire, no more thy England own. Dare injured nations form the great design to make detested tyrants bleed? Thy England execrates the glorious deed. Beneath her hostile banners waving, every pang of honour braving, England in thunder calls, the tyrant's cause is mine. That hour, accursed how did the fiends rejoice, and hell through all her confines raise the exulting voice. That hour which saw the generous English name linked with such damned deeds of everlasting shame. And that's before he knew anything about David Cameron. So this is the argument of the National Collective. We're not anti-English, we're pro a more egalitarian society, and we hope that independence might be a way of creating one. And we hope that a more just independent Scotland might help to resurrect that great radical tradition of which our English friends are so rightly proud. Okay, two more poems I want to look at, and you know what they're going to be. Scots wi' Hay and Is There for Honest Poverty. So Scots wi' Hay is commonly read as a jingoistic anti-English rant, but the crucial context of both these poems is that Burns wrote and published them while Muir and Palmer were on trial in Edinburgh for their promotion of the Friends of the People, a pro-democratic popular movement advocating universal suffrage inspired by Tom Paine's The Rights of Man and the democratic ideals of the American colonists. So Burns published both these poems anonymously because he knew he'd be arrested if he were seen to be espousing these democratic principles. He said that he wrote Scots Wha Hae in memory of an old struggle for freedom against oppression, but also in light of contemporary issues of injustice. So the poem is a rant, but it's a rant against any global example of injustice and oppression. So listen to the poem in that context. Bruce's March to Bannockburn. Scots wha hae wi Wallace bled, Scots whom Bruce has often led, welcome to your gory bed or to victory. Now is the day and now is the hour. See the front o' battle lower, see approach proud Edward's power, chains and slavery. Wha will be a traitor knave, wha can fill a coward's grave, wha sae base as be a slave, let him turn and flee. Wha for Scotland's king and law, freedom's sword will strongly draw, free man stand, or free man fall, let him on wi' me. By oppression's woes and pains, by your sons in servile chains, we will drain our dearest veins, but they shall be free. Lay the proud usurpers low, tyrants fall on every foe, liberties in every blow, let us do or die. Okay, so like the independence movement and the national collective stance, Burns always views culture and society through the lens of the poor, or at least the common man. And his greatest critique of contemporary society is a man for all that. It's a hymn of praise to the radical vision of the revolution in France, of liberty, equality and fraternity. Burns, like any good Marxist, knows only too well that fraternity with the power elite is a non-starter. Merchant bankers and boys of the Bullingdon Club have no concept of fraternity. They are willing to temporarily ally themselves with any immoral or criminal tendency if it means turning a quick buck. But the lifestyle of the mega-rich, the Russian oligarch, the money speculator, the reality show impresario, Burns says is a tinsel show. He dismisses it as all that shite. What matters are sense and worth. A man's a man for all that. Is there for honest poverty that hangs his heed and all that? The coward slave, we pass him by, we daur be poor for all that. For all that and all that, our toils obscure and all that, the rank is but the guinea stamp, the man's the gowd for all that. What though in hamely fare we dine, wear hodden grey and all that, gie fools their silks and knaves their wine, a man's a man for all that. For all that and all that, their tinsel show and all that, the honest man, though e'er sae poor, is king o' men for all that. Ye saw yon Birkie ca'd a lord, with struts and stairs and all that. Though hundreds worship at his word, he's but a coof for all that. For all that and all that, his ribboned star and all that, the man of independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. A prince can mak a belted knight, a marquis, duke and all that, but an honest man is aboon his might. Good faith, he mauna fa that. For all that and all that, their dignities and all that, the pith of sense and pride of worth are higher rank than all that. Then let us pray that come it may, as come it will, for all that sense and worth o'er all the earth shall bear the gree and all that. For all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that man to man, the world o'er, shall brothers be for all that. For all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that woman to woman, the world o'er, shall sisters be for all that. Okay, that's enough. You don't want to hear any more from me. However, as you fill your glasses with that Highland Park ready for the toast, save some for me, this is Auchentoshan. Let's have a last word from Rabbie. So in a letter he wrote to Mrs. Dunlop of Dunlop on the 10th of April 1790, he said, "Alas, I have often said to myself, what are the boasted advantages which my country reaps from a certain union that counterbalance the annihilation of her independence and even her name?" Okay, raise your glasses to Rabbie and come September the 18th, vote Liberté, Égalité, Fraternity. Vote Burns. Vote yes. Avanti Popolo.